Justice Antonio Carpio, distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a pleasure to speak before you today as we commemorate the 8th anniversary of the landmark arbitral award, the South China Sea. When the award was issued on 12 July 2016, it was a resounding victory for the Philippines, widely celebrated all over the country as it reaffirmed the importance of international law, particularly UNCLOS, in the peaceful resolution of disputes. The award settled with finality the unlawfulness of the 9, or sometimes 10, dash line in the imaginary historic rights, as it is based on, as well as ruled on the status of the features within the Philippine exclusive economic zone. Shortly thereafter, it was clear that China is not inclined to recognize or comply with the decision, and that is prepared to put the weight of its political and economic might behind repudiation of the award. Today's 8th anniversary, therefore, provides a solemn occasion for us to reflect on the challenges that we face in the direct enforcement of the award, with a view to securing China's compliance with the decision. But we also have the opportunity to identify creative solutions to reinforce the award. I will be dividing my remarks into 3 parts based on the assigned topic to me, the challenges, as the title is given to me. First, I will identify the challenges to international legal enforcement of the arbitral award. Next, I will touch upon the second half of my topic, which is balancing sovereignty and global norms. And finally, I will provide examples on how the Department of Foreign Affairs is addressing these challenges and our proposed way to forward on this issue. First, the challenges to the enforcement. 1, instead of compliance, we have seen China escalate tensions even further through repeated aggressive actions, including but not limited to obstruction of Philippine vessels, destructive use of water cannons, collisions, dangerous maneuvers, and many others with impunity. Second, there is no supranational law enforcement body that can compel any state to comply with a decision. Well, the United Nations Security Council has the primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security. Its decision-making processes ensure that the Council will never act or may not act against the interests of a permanent member who has veto power. 3, the rules-based international order relies on a system of rules, norms, and laws to facilitate state-to-state interactions to ensure stability and predictability to international relations. States are obliged to honor their legal obligations in good faith. This is how other states determine whether you are a reliable, dependable partner. However, China has demonstrated that it is ready to take on the reputational cost of non-compliance with international law and attempts to weather it through economic inducements and development aid, as well as positioning itself as the counterweight to the so-called Western imperialism. Lastly, China continuously questions the legitimacy and legality of the 2016 arbitral award by peddling alternative and unfounded narratives. At this juncture, I wish to segue into the second part of my topic, balancing sovereignty and global norms. We are of the firm view that the concepts of sovereignty and global norms are 2 mutually reinforcing sides of the same coin, not opposing concepts. The set of rules, norms, and laws that make up the rules-based international order establish, define, and enable sovereignty. They allow states to coexist harmoniously by clarifying the rights and obligations of states, as well as to ensure that their actions are done with due regard to the rights and obligations of other states. However, we note that the Chinese Foreign Ministry considers the rules-based order, and I quote, a set of house rules established by few Western countries to contain and suppress other countries, end of quote. This statement frames the concept of sovereignty and the rules-based order as polar opposites, anchoring its refusal to abide by the award based on a lawful claim of sovereignty over the entire South China Sea, and its misleading claim that its consent was absent from the arbitral proceedings. Despite all these challenges to the legal enforcement of the arbitral award, the Philippines is not without options, nor are we bereft of friends in the international community, as was part of the first part of the program, which brings me to my third point, that the way forward to resolve also this complex intergeneration issue is through steadfast, measured, and constructive diplomacy. The Philippines does not want conflict in the South China Sea. Our diplomatic engagements are fully anchored on our desire to uphold peace, stability, and prosperity, not only in the South China Sea, but in the greater Indo-Pacific region as a whole. At the same time, we continue to assert Philippine sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction as we uphold and protect our maritime entitlements under the UNCLOS and the 2016 Arbitral Award. For the past 8 years, the Department of Foreign Affairs, together with our 94 embassies, missions, and consulates general and growing, has worked tirelessly and relentlessly to promote, advocate for, and give prominence to the Arbitral Award. In all our engagements with international partners, promoting the award is a consistent agenda, be it in the bilateral, regional, or multilateral fora. We in the Department of Foreign Affairs continue to advance the rule of law by promoting the legitimacy and value of the award as part of the corpus of international law. This includes advocating for the integration of the award's principles into regional and global ocean governance frameworks. Most recently, at the International Tribunal on the Law of the Sea, ITLAW, it cited the arbitral award in key parts of the advisory opinion as an authoritative basis for highlighting the duty of states to protect and preserve the environment. The government is likewise working towards the early ratification and early entry into force of the agreement under UNCLOS on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity on areas beyond national jurisdiction. I think another name for this is the High Seas Treaty. Throughout these engagements, the Philippines championed a consistent position that UNCLOS and the Arbitral Award provide a framework for settling maritime claims and entitlements, as well as identify the legal obligations of states in the maritime sphere. Just to add, just last month, the G7, in both the statement of the foreign ministers and the leaders, and some of the countries are represented here, have made use of a paragraph in the statement that they have made, the joint statement, citing the UNCLOS and the Arbitral Award, and that gave us really that prominence that we wanted. At the same time, we continue to enhance and leverage our international partnerships by strengthening ties with like-minded partners and hopefully other claimant states. We signal a united front and amplify our call for adherence to international law. Through political consultations, maritime dialogues, multilateral cooperative activities, joint statements, among others, we continue to raise greater awareness of the issue and the prominence of the Arbitral Award. We recognize the importance also of preserving the bilateral relationship with China, which remains a major economic partner with whom we share deep historical, cultural, and people-to-people ties. Establish diplomatic channels such as the bilateral consultation mechanism on the South China Sea, as well as various ASEAN modalities, enable exchanges of proposals on how to manage differences at sea, foster mutual understanding and confidence-building measures, and advance the peaceful settlement of the South China Sea issue. Despite the glacial pace of the negotiations on an ASEAN-China Code of Conduct in the South China Sea, we remain confident that ASEAN continues to serve as an agent for peace and security in the region. As diplomats, we are used to having very difficult, oftentimes circuitous and frustrating conversations, but we persevere nonetheless. In my long years in the Foreign Service, I find that taking an adversarial or antagonistic approach in any issue is rarely the best approach. Peace and dialogue must always be on the table. When we realize that this is also what the other side wants as well, this is where the steady march of diplomacy begins. Thank you. Marami pong salamat.